Hello. Wow, y'all are beautiful. All of a sudden, I'm feeling emotional right here, right now. Hello. Welcome to the first event of Mic Check Poetry Fest. Yes. This is Poetry in Motion. You are going to hear some phenomenal poets with this phenomenal band. Y'all already heard a little bit. It's beautiful. It is, this is, it's been a while since I've actually emceed a show, right? So I'm so glad to see y'all and braving this out here with you, with me, and also those who are here virtually. We appreciate y'all for still being with us. I love this art form. I love what this means. I love community, and so this is what I'm living for right here. So thank y'all for being in the space. I don't even think y'all really ready, to be honest. I don't think we did like a sound check earlier today, and it was, I was like trying to be professional and be like, yes, that was good. But then I realized that's not what we do in this space, right? That's not what we do here. So for those of you who are like, spoken words sound cute, but I don't know what that is. Really, it's an art form that's just about expression and telling your stories, bringing the truth to the stage, right? But also connecting with those who are out there with you. This is a conversation. This is a connection, right? This is not a play where you're expected to like be quiet the whole time, right? We also got to acknowledge that like spoken word comes from Black culture. We ain't quiet. So bring it. So for those of you at different varying levels, we ask you to participate in what you're comfortable in, right? Because I've done this many times where I say, hey, this is how to be in this space. And then I'll have someone, kindest soul ever, come up to me afterwards and be like, yo, but like, I don't really like snapping like that. And that's okay, right? But the key is if you feel something, don't stop yourself from it. Right? Let yourself be enveloped in it. And so that goes to everyone in different varying comfortabilities. But what I want to give you guys is some tools. As you've seen already, y'all can snap. So let's snap. Let's bring the love. Yes. That anytime. There's no off time, right? You could do that at any moment that you feel something, right? At the same time, one thing that you can do is I had my great aunt once came to a show and she said, my fingers don't work, Caleb. I got arthritis. And I was like, that's real. So some other things that you can do. One is like you can lightly like tap your feet on the ground and make that sound. It's like weird for me when I'm standing because it looks like I'm like chopping feet or whatever. But you can add that sound, or your voice is allowed to be in this space. We want it here, right? So if you love something, you can give it. Now I will say the best stuff is kept a little short, a little concise, right? Because we still want to hear the poet, we still want to respect the mic, but you also want to give love, right? So that's that's whatever. I do always, in this space, make it very clear that it is okay to grunt, because I grunt so much, I can't help it. I'd be out here, so do that, just so it makes me like less weird. So feel free to do that. So that's how you can be in this space, wherever you're comfortable, and any place, but we just are so happy that you're here. I am so happy that you're here. So with that being said, I want to give a little bit of shout out. Lisa Roberts is co-producing this with me. I'm Caleb, the Negro Artist, Rainey. And Lisa Roberts is like, you'll see me kind of in the front a lot this weekend, but Lisa Roberts, this would not exist without her. And so she does a lot of the background work that I'm like, yo, Lisa, I really don't want to do that. And Lisa's like, I got you. So I just need us to name that. I also want to name our sponsors and our partners who have helped us. We created this festival and people said, oh yeah, we want to help you. One of them is the center, right? Where we are here in this space. We said, how can we make a big enough space that people can still be like socially distanced and feel comfortable, and what can we do with that? And the center was like, oh, we got you here. And then we also have several other sponsors that I'll mention later, but I just want to say the community's come, and so I'm glad that y'all are here to show that it matters, that we love this. I am going to kick us off tonight with just a piece that I've written. and then we'll get to the real talent. Yes, this piece is titled What You Need to Hear. And band, when you're ready. You want to start? What you need to hear. 1. You matter. I know some days you feel like a spider, a lone weaver sewing life together on your own, and some days you only catch crap, or worse, nothing. And you go to bed wondering if your web is meant to be a coffin, if you're even meant to be a spider, but I need to tell you, wait until the morning dew. Wait until you see sunlight reflect off bulbs of water on strands you didn't even know were there. Those are the strands that connect us, that connect you to me. They're what holds us all together. We need them. We need you. So every night, look at your web and await the sunlight. 2, you have power. I know everything tells you you don't. The media, the police, the bosses, the teacher, the mirror, they say you can't control anything. Say that the history haunting you or the system shackled around your ankles or the trauma noose tight around your neck should direct your every step. But I need to tell you, they're wrong. You can make each moment a rebellion. And I dare you dance where you laugh at every chance, smile at first glance, trust in advance. You can lift the weight of oppression by choosing connection. Thwart trauma with truth-telling. Shatter systems with sincerity. You can change the world. You simply have to fight. 3, we matter. Trade your mirror in for a window and see the beauty we all have to offer. 4, you are not finished. Who you are now is not who you will be. You are growing in God's garden among us, and in time, we all bloom. In time, we all bloom. And soon you will bloom brave. Petals soft and passionate colors, vibrant. You will be so spectacular, even God stops to smell. 5, I love you. 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 Thank you. Y'all gonna hype me too much. All right, so our next poet up, and y'all did wonderful, by the way. Just like a check-in, progress report. Love that. Y'all gave it. That's what we want here. So our next poet is actually one of our sponsored artists. And so this poet is sponsored by Mosley's Barbecue and Provisions. That is one of our poets' places for the weekend. If you're looking hungry, go to Mosley's. It's got some great barbecue. I'm gonna even give my own personal shout out. Used to work there, love them. But I reached out to them and I said, hey, we're doing this festival. Would you like to sponsor an artist? And they said, absolutely. And so they have sponsored this artist to come here, to stay for the night, to pay for their art, right? And that's how we do this, and that's how we make art continue is with a community that's willing to pay the artist. So we've got to thank Mosley's for that. That's a huge shout out for them. Give them the love. Just give them the love for a second. Yes. So this poet, Byrd Roberts, is an award-winning poet, creative catalyst, author of Mahogany, A Love Letter to Black, the founder of Bird's World, built to inspire and transform lives through creativity. Byrd's artistic practice revolves around the intersectionality between form and freedom. Yeah, I'm out here like that too. Each story tastes like ripe mangoes, cayenne pepper, or the eclectic combination of the two. Her work enriches the student and educator experience through storytelling and workshops. Byrd's work has appeared in several festivals and publications, including Sixfold Expressions from Inglewood, Hope Ignited, and will premiere in Trouble the Waters, Tales from the Deep Blue in 2022. Her words are balloon and bubble. To join her on her journey, visit her website, byrdsworld.com, and that's Byrds, B-Y-R-D, right? So please welcome up Heather Byrd Roberts.
The things you're not ready for. Thank you all. That was a great just introduction to this space. Y'all, it's been so long. Wow. I was in like the third row and did not look behind me. And apparently, y'all came out for this. Give yourselves a round of applause. This is beautiful. Wow. It's been so long since I've been in spaces in community with others. And I'm a little overwhelmed myself. So to set the space, I would like for y'all to do something with me. Can it'll be fine, I promise. Also to the folks on virtual, you're welcome to do this as well. One of the ways that I set the space, I call my audience hummingbirds, my community hummingbirds. And what I would love for us to do to be able to inhale together collectively and then exhale out with a really good hum. And there is enough of us in this room where we should be able to feel each other's vibration. Y'all down to do that with me? Okay, because I need it too, because I got butterflies. Okay, here we go. All right, inhale with me together. Exhale out with a really good Y'all feel that? Okay, we're gonna do that one more time because I need it. All right, let's inhale together again. And then exhale out with a really good Yes, thank you all so much. So the set I'll be doing for y'all today will be entitled, oh no, my phone said psych. You know, I embrace the technical difficulties. I embrace the things that happen. They all happen for a reason. All right, so it's entitled Faint Freedom, Fire, and Finding Home. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. Why you wanna fly, blackbird? You ain't never gonna fly. No place big enough for holding all the tears you're gon' cry. $15.26. We were one, then two, then 20 million drudging to coast, bounded by iron horseshoes, waiting for splintered lips. We were seized counterclockwise, directed east, cramming Savannah with chattel and contracted weapons for New World. We were crumbles, bartered bodies slathered in a plague. We were choking from plague while swallowing traded pearls on gunpowder for New World. We were water spirits' daughters waiting to be taken home. But we were drowning in vomit and menstrual seeds and traded textiles and rum for New World. We were high-pitched screeches across oceans, whales penetrating sonar, awakening snake, wool-like hair and gapped teeth. World of seas lured savannah into deep. Mami Wata received us from Maji. Let statues from prows plunge. Take us home. And what is home? When you've been displaced? What is home when you are constantly moving through this space trying to figure out who you are when the rest of the world wants to tell you something that may or may not be true? It's hard to build home when you weren't a part of the scenario in the first place. It's hard to name yourself. You see, I should have been named Imani or Amara or Anaya or Abella, or maybe my birth certificate should have said Iffy or Messi or Nala or Nia, or I think her lips should have formed a Kiru, an Arare, or Sanaya, or my grandmother made sure my first name skipped this gene pool. It was an attempt to disguise the depths of the Atlantic, to make sure I'd never have to scrub my heart out of anything. You see, we brown-skinned, billy clubbed and bullets, fire extinguished psyche, assimilated clone we, covered in hoodies, rainbow in hand, iced tea, bitter, dead bodies littered we, fight till open casket, face allergic to fists, blackberries we, homicide garden, covered up suicide, lacy, unworthy, must not breathe we, not protected, just hunted. We smile and you run. We run empty shells into bodies baking in incubators. We wish to be vanilla cupcakes. Crawford and Rice, land of the free, the fine print you can't see. We stuck between rocks and bars. We slap bricks around crack rocks and jail bars. We march to a beat. We disrupt streets. We make sure our children don't decorate concrete. We bleed so lamb won't have to anymore. And then they ask us, why are we burning down our neighborhoods? Why is there fire? Why is there such destruction? But they never listen to the reason. You see, at 11, I was handed a wand and fixed between childhood and puberty. I had destruction's index finger ringing at my black neighbor's front door, and my grandmother tried to warn me. She told me to always yell fire instead of gun, fire instead of rape. Fire can consume, so yell fire so you can escape. She made sure this lesson was on repeat. Told me that if my life was ever in danger, people come to put out the fires before they tend to the truth. So I armed myself, shape-shifted, justified her lesson's validity, resided so close to the fire that I forgot how much it consumes and illuminates. Confused still, while my white friends roam without a death sentence strapped to their skin, I believed in shea butter, incense, pink lotion, Chicago footworkers, ciphers, homemade mace, house music, heralds, coconut oil, cowrie shells, and sage tucked into every crevice of my crib. I believe in light, Wonder, Stevie, a record player with a broken needle, and the Pointer Sisters reminded me to jump and release all burdens. Under my canines, the world's tongue can swirl around Chimamanda Adichie without demanding a nickname. Under my canines, Ella Baker has a seat at the table with Salage, a megaphone, and a steak, carving everything with an oyster knife, and no one questions. I am a time bomb holding on to the fire, filled with bladed pearls, defective speculums, and centuries of clotted blood polluted with syphilis. I believe in altars honoring black airmen, Hottentots Venuses, and the enslaved who fought back. I believe in candles with unlimited wick for a reason. Alchemy, divination, astrology, numerology, and chakras. I believe in boomerangs, justice, karma, and the bitch. I am a ticking time bomb tired of oppression. I believe in matches and marches. I believe in smoke. I believe in the fires they cause and the chants they spur. I am percussion plotting a revolution with my grandmother's hissing southern tongue in my mouth. Come dance with me. Bring your drums. Sound out your heartbeat. Seek the rhythm's deep blue core and the fire. I believe in fire. My body is birth. I bleed. I believe in dark phrases and the laying on of hands. Stumbling in my neighborhood, boarded up, seething and weary, stumbling on a system that walked off with all of our stuff. They tucked it away and listed it as government. They made it legal for whites to loot an entire continent and call it trade. Wipe us of ritual and call us hoodlums. My face is a lion justice hasn't greeted yet. A great mother ready to protect, to shred. A vindictive bitch with a machete. I am a ticking time bomb organizing all the fires. Searching for the reset button. You know, home should be a place of celebration. Home should smell like your grandmother's cooking. We should be able to build a place where home involves all of us in its creation. So take us home. Back to bottled caps and brown, warm, bursting of ugali and goat, jollof rice and ginger, puff meat pies and fufu smashing in mommy's burnt left hand. Back to plucking jumbo mangoes raining with space. We waiting on veil to disintegrate shackle and dust ocean's bottom. Fuse legs to make fin. Gallop gills across bruises. Twist indigo and alizarian crimson into safety. We free now. Our breasts float. We gyrate to sacrifice skins in the name of rejoicing. We giggle with fish now. This is the best family reunion after flotsam. After dive or flop or bones snapping in half. We sail underwater. Y'all in the front row, I love y'all. Thank you all so much. It's such a pleasure to be in this space. Just real quick, today is a really amazing day. Not only am I here, not only am I doing a bunch of writing workshops and panel discussions and just being back to my second home, kind of, because I am originally from Chicago, but I spent 9 years in this area, went to Cornell College, so this space built me as a professional. So I'm always paying homage to that. Today is also really special because I just launched my new line of merch. And it says, leap and your wings will appear. And what I want that to be able to do for every single one of you all in this room is to give you permission to dream, give you permission to be able to go out and tell that story that you've always wanted to tell, and know that you have all of the tools necessary to do so, right? So what I would like to do for you all in the audience, I would love for you to pull out your phones real quick, if you could. Y'all like, uh-oh, what's she about to do? And because today is such a beautiful day, I would love to gift you all, gift 3 people in the audience a piece of merch. And so the way in which we're going to do this is I'm going to have y'all pull out your phones, go ahead and pull out your text messages, and I would love for y'all to type in the number 773, yeah, Chicago area code, 773-232-2653. Type your name and type the word LEAP in all caps. And I'm going to choose 3 people who send this to me to get merch. I have a merch table out in the side, front, but I don't know what that is, out there. So y'all are more than welcome to come join me, have a conversation with me. Again, the number is 773-232-2653. And I'm going to choose 3 lucky folks to literally get first dibs on this, because this is the first day that I've had this. And so y'all are going to get the exclusive. So thank y'all so much for your time, for your energy. This is great. Thank you so much.
Woo, give it up for Heather one more time. Come on now. Woo. So what I realized is that we jumped into this event. I didn't explain what was going to happen. I just did not prepare y'all really at all. So just to give y'all a little rundown, if y'all just heard about this, you said, sure, I'll check it out. What this is, right, is we have these poets who have brought their work, and this band right here, yes! This is Gerard. They are improvising, right? Like this is not a rehearsed set. What happened is we met earlier today. Each poet was like, hey, here are my poems. They heard it once, played a little bit, and they were like, all right, I think we figured something out. And that's what's happening here, all right? So like, they're going off vibes, they're going off feelings, they're fun. I don't know how, I'm not a music person, I don't know how to do that, but it's crazy. So they understood the assignment. So exactly. So I wanted to make sure y'all understood like how like crazy good this is that's happening, right? This beauty that's being made. You are watching art be created and collaborated right now. So that's beautiful. We love to see it. The next poet up here is gonna be Ever Taylor. So this is personally one of my favorite poets. Ever Taylor is an Atlanta-made, Iowa-educated, and slam-cultivated warrior of change. As a double major in English and creative writing and African-American studies, with a minor in social justice, and a double emphasis in race and gender equity in business, they formerly worked as a center programming assistant at the Afro-American Culture Center, chapter president for the Delta chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and co-president of the National Panhellenic Council at the University of Iowa, where she does great volunteer and civic engagement work. They were recently the recipient of the Mari Nesbitt Award, which they were given for holding the highest grade point average in the African American Studies program for 5 consecutive semesters. Oh! And for her service to the University of Iowa community. They also are a teaching artist who makes space for Black queer folks in all she creates. Please welcome Ever Taylor. Come on up here.
words weak, I could sit and stare at you all day. You are my vacation. You put butterflies in my stomach again. Was just one feeling in my chest. I don't want these moments to end. Please don't stop your shine. You hold summertime in those brown eyes. Yes, in your brown eyes. Yes, in those brown eyes. Yes. Please don't stop your shine. You hold summertime in those brown eyes. Hi, everyone. My name is Ever Taylor. A couple people affectionately know me as Jahabella. I wanted to start off with a song that I wrote a couple days ago in a library. And just to make y'all like me before y'all hear the poems. I'm very happy and very emotional. Some people who I started my slam journey with when I was a sophomore in high school are here, and I did not know that they were coming. So I'm just really full and really happy to see my friends and family here. I love y'all. And that was my first time of performing original music to a crowd, so. So just before we go into the pieces, I want you all to know that if you need to take space, you can, because we will be addressing sexual assault, daddy issues, bodily autonomy is the theme of these poems for tonight. And I will never feel disrespected as an artist if you need to step out. So take the space and the time that you need. And thank you for being in this space with me. Thank you, Chloe. So this next piece is called 15 Times. 15 times I choked on my own silence with the suffocating hands of my coping mechanisms won. The last skinny boy I allowed to take solace in me clears his throat, morphs his voice into the best Prince Charming he's got, says, "You're not that big. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard for you to lose them damn pesky pounds." That night, I won a slam with a love poem dedicated to my thighs, I believe no lines of, too. I wrote this poem while researching the cost of fat transplants, cursing myself out for all the money I could have saved instead of spending it on food. I'm staring at my pictures from middle school, wishing for the weight I had in 7th grade, pissed off that I was just as insecure back then, that I took that nearly flat stomach for granted. I can't even look at my old pictures without getting the urge to not eat for days. 3, when people call me beautiful, I laugh and swallow my denial like a good meal. My sadness has a funny way of making everyone I love into a gun. Every word they say a trigger. Every day harder to dodge bullets and compliments in the same breath. 4, sometimes I want to cry and not feel like I have to write a fucking poem about it. 5, I think my poems get tired of me too. 6, my depression becomes the room that swallows the elephant, makes my bed feel coffin when the poems ain't enough and I want to forget what morning looks like. 7, my asylum is in the arms of a girl who holds me like a promise she will not keep. When I read my poems about her to my parents, I change her pronouns. I love this body with question marks and negligence, protect my comfort zone enough to sacrifice my healing. 8, I learned this as queer, as black, as woman, then as non-binary, as sex, as love, as my heart, a thing to be broken before knowing it could be whole. 9, there are men who became indigenous to my body before I could, and this is a story of how I learned to like girls and boys and everything but myself. 10, I was interrogated out of my closet by the bullies in my middle school math class just to find no space in the room to claim as my own. 11, I am constantly seeking to be enough. I consume air for breakfast, binge at lunch, cuss myself out by dinner, consume nothing the next day, binge at 4 a.m., suck in my stomach until I get back home in the afternoon, try not to breathe. I am never satisfied with my results. My stomach feels like a bottomless pit one day and a graveyard the next. 12, This body is waiting to be woken up to without judgment or apology about what it is and who it belongs to. 13, I want to stop being the elephant in my room. I want the elephant to stop feeling like the elephant in the room. I want my tears to be my tears. I want my poems to belong to me. I want my room to just be my room. 14, I want to belong to someone. 15, I want to belong to myself again. How we feeling? All right, so this next piece is called A Black Girl's Notes on a Year in the ER. Shout out to Iowa City Hospitals. I fear nothing like I fear the skepticism of white medicine. I have escaped shootouts trembling less than I did a doctor's office. How you borrow my body for research and still don't know nothing about how to diagnose it. I am tired of being practiced on, being told my symptoms are figments of my imagination like I would boogeyman my own body. Them white doctors never cared about keeping my babies alive, but always made sure I had milk for theirs. Be the rambunctious bull in my living room, ripping up my curtains and kente cloth, pissing on all my crystals, and there's no amount of saging to smudge them out. Caused me so strong, 3 spinal taps later after her hands were too shaky to get the needle in my back the right way the first time. I have cried more times in the ICU than I ever have on stage for a poem. She says these hormones will work, then blames me for not knowing they would attack what I have left of my lungs. Ignored my pain until my clots doubled in size because big girls don't know no fucking pain. All Western medicine knows how to do is infiltrate me. Says my body is too savage and unruly to not be controlled or sedated enough not to complain. Says I do not deserve to heal or have peace. Would rather swallow me and make me forget who I was. They think they are saving me, but won't even listen when I tell them the monsters in my closet I need saving from. They are the monsters in my closet I need saving from. The white doctors ignoring my symptoms do not color themselves murderers, but their wombs do not bleed from my cysts. Their spines do not break from mine. Their lungs do not burst to give me breath. They do not care if I never get another chance to hold my big brother because they gave me the wrong medication again. They ask me my pain level on a scale from 1 to 10. I say, my pain is an 8, but my frustration is a 20. They ask why. I say as a joke, Google is doing more than y'all degrees right now. What I mean to say is, I am the only black body in this room fighting for my life, knowing the tears this body will drown in if y'all misdiagnose me again. How we doing? This next poem is dedicated to my father. My mother asked the number of sexual partners I've had, and I count the number of men who look like my father on the train. Round up, you sexist self-defense class, teaching my body how to give in so no man can take me. It can't be against my will if I'm always willing. I find the next man I will make it to my father on Tinder, has his initials, has the smile of a man who would have protected his children. The second I forget to suck in my stomach, he calls me beautiful. But I feel the apology in his tone. His compliment sounds like you're welcome, like I'm sorry for your loss. He asks me, am I a daddy's girl? I say I'm in between a rock and my father being the reason my rapist got away. A hard place and still giving him a ticket to my graduation. I don't know where to put all this feeling. It makes the floor around my bed messy a lot, and I would clean every inch of my room, but I got shit to do. So I let you be the daddy I deserve for 4 hours. I feel my womanism swallow a bottle of Benadryl. Am I lonesome? I will not remember whether or not I came, but if you still looked at me after you did, I wish you could understand how fucked up this shit sounds as a sex fantasy, but daddy issues make for good sex and great poems, so here's a letter to my bitch-ass father. I pray my words leave a desert in your blood. I want to make you feel 7-year-old boy hiding from his stepfather small, 6-year-old girl gagging on her babysitter helpless. Your children, when they were still children, believed you God, omnipotent, and everything else you said you were. Now just a boy whose balls never dropped, and somehow you had some miraculous ass kids. Tell your Facebook friends to stop congratulating you on our achievements. Show them my poems and your son's hospital bills instead. I pray everyone is wrong about holding grudges, but in the meantime, I hope Sally Mae and child support band together and haunt you until my children have grandchildren. For all the years my brother protected you, I hope your sadness matches that. I hope you fall for a man who scars you for life and texts you I'm sorry while holding out his hand for a birthday gift. I hope he shrinks you more than I ever could. I pray I can watch you die, all slow and bloodied, get full off your flat line, and when they ask me to speak at your funeral, I will read this and rub dog shit up and down your legacy. Fuck you. And the fact that I will continue to pick up when you call. But again, I'm still naked in a stranger's bed, confused and scared, wanting my daddy to hold me. To the last boy I took my lip gloss off for, I remember giving everything but my body to you and how you chose to hold me. I wanted to tell you to get off. I wanted to tell you to either fuck me again or reimburse me for this Uber. We good? This last piece is some new shit. About spiders. I watched a YouTube video where a male spider pressured a black widow into mating. She tried her best to dig her fangs into his demanding body, but he used his legs to block her teeth. What's considered seduction to the insect is coercion to the human. I wouldn't call what happened sex, but I am not an invertebrate filled with silk. National Geographic names this kink, to tie down a body until it submits. The men in the comments say this is their Friday night, and I think of how many women had to get abused for those jokes to land. I've never had a fear of spiders, but I've always known how scary niggas could be. The way they offer your body to themselves, break in like homes they cannot afford because it's simpler to steal than to contribute. How the fuck you figure me a spider but love to drop the widow in my name? And then I realized I ain't no motherfucking spider. We know succumb has come in it and you wished it were that easy. At least the black widow has the courtesy to kill the man after he's done. I won't let your bitch ass get the chance. I tase niggas for even thinking about me. Don't you know we come out the womb fangs first? Keep them acrylic claws on us. Stop telling us to relax. I was raised by women who pour hot grits on niggas in they sleep. And you think I won't use all my will to snap your dick off? I will cut you open and consume everything you tried to destroy me with. Pick my teeth with your remains, suck out your guts, and marvel at the shell of you. This is not a hyperbole or metaphor. Spiders spin webs, but femmes are webs. The things that get caught in me would make a poem vomit. If I could jar every man, if I could jar every man who's blamed me for being sticky instead of correcting his craving, I'd swaddle him in silk. Call the holes I sucked blood from hickeys. Name their deaths after the shit that turned them on. Because if I'm asking to be raped, then you are asking to unexist. Thank you.
I am over here cheering. I forgot to get up. I'm over here just, woo! Damn. Whew. Give it up for Ever one more time. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Oh. Whew, so a little rundown. We're going to have one more poet, then we're going to take a short intermission for those of y'all who like gotta go to the bathroom, whatever, you know. Also, these poets, some of them have merch out there. So like that would be a great way to also support the artist. Also, if they just spit something you love, like go see them. So that's what will happen, and then we'll come back and we'll have 4 more poets for you. So it's a jam-packed night. So I'm going to keep moving. Next up, we've got David Duer. David Duer was born in the rubber capital of the world in the year of the fish stick, soft shell, and red scare. He recently retired from teaching English language arts at Cedar Rapids, Washington High School. Shout out, hey. He's performed his poetry in many venues, including with the bands Pink Gravy and an orchestra I don't know how to name. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I'm not gonna disrespect either. His poems have been published in the Chapbooks, Exploits, Dog Hair Press, and To Bread Coffee House Press, and have appeared in Ascent, Exquisite Corpse, English Journal, Milkweed Chronicle, North American Review, and Poetry, among others. So please give it up for David Duer.
From the first riffs of their sound check, I could feel that vibration in my gut. That primal, we gotta move! No place for me here in the shade, laid back on that academic lawn when that energy on stage is afoot. So winding my way to the foot of the stage where the faithful are gathered at the altar of rock and roll, and stepping into it, we all vaxxed, yes? Ecstatic gyrations, our joint reply, dancing in the street because the boys on stage are too much joy to resist. The lead guitarist in tight white jeans and striped t-shirt laughing. They're all laughing at the audacity of their sound, sounding the depths of our souls, making us safe and sound. The drummer to his right up front because it's his beat, teases us by skipping that beat. Our hearts stop, we hold our collective breath, but he brings it back to us laughing. Upstage left, the horn section, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. A piccolo solo because they can. A trumpet solo because the girl in the front row with the trumpet tat on her arm begs for one. The keyboard player, stage front left, not to be left out, insinuates his ivory trills and ebony beats. And upstage right, the bass player, an afro like a halo, nearly 9 feet tall, his bass guitar the size of a sitar, is laying down his own American ragga. Looking around, I see Devin and Bridget. I see Maya, I see Tyler. We lock eyes, smile, and nod to each other, laughing. Yes, I see you digging this too. The sweatiest, funkiest jazz ever. Reteaching our bodies how to move, how to groove. Our right arms raised in testimony, swinging in unison. You make this happen, but we are the people. This almost 4th of July, going forth to build a more perfect union. All my friends and relations. Thank you, band. They're so good. And thank you all for being here. What a great crowd. And shout out to everyone that's here virtually. I have quite a few friends. I mean, like, I have some old friends from back from my high school days that are with me here virtually. From Oakland, from Long Island, from San Antonio, from Akron, Ohio, which is the rubber capital of the world, by the way, in case you didn't know. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, this next piece, we had a derecho here a while ago. I've been helping for the last year replant trees at my old high school. We've planted 29 trees. We started our arboretum. And one of the things I've been thinking about a lot as we've been taking care of these trees is rain. And it's been kind of a dry year, so rain's been on my mind. So this next piece is kind of a rain incantation. There is a place in the middle of it, because it's kind of a segue, medley sort of thing. When I say louder, crowd, louder, that is a welcome invitation to you to be a part of the thunder that comes in at that point in the play. So louder, crowd, louder. Join me and join the band. From dry so long, from far long way, from the southwest it comes, low-slung garage of flashlights. Greetings from the Choctaw Nation, from Tulsa's Black Wall Street reborn. Salud del Valle del Rio Grande. Can't you feel the warriors returning wearing the armor of lightning on their backs? From the southwest, photographs of kings and queens in stark profile. No nostalgia sepia seeping into this reality. Can't you hear the waves crashing from the coast? The exile of thunder is over. Its feet trod the prairies again. The voices of our ancestors are heard again. Here the old will be new, the high will be made low. Corridors opening up into tomorrow. Come the bowling alleys, come the fire engines and rescue squads. The curtains are restless, bent on combusting. A bus leaves town filled with fugitives. The crows can no longer hold their breath. The long wait is over. Can't you see the green boat bobbing on the horizon of doubt? Thunder tolls and rolls out its red carpet. Can't you taste the rain and drought clashing in the back of your throats? The three-masted trees lean in the wind, the sap of barometers rising. Veins stand out in black and white, a strobe effect of bright pauses. The sap of barometers rising. The moments come fast and faster. Bedsheet hearts flap in the breeze. Can't you feel the boom of the schooner brushing you in passing? Radios whistle out the last thin bit of truth. Now the bones of the storm fall upon us. It's a touchdown, a grand slam, a crescendo. Louder, crowd, louder! The rain falls. The rain falls on the college students. Rain falls on the shoppers and joggers and bloggers. The rain falls on the bereft and beleaguered, the besmirched, the bedraggled, the bedridden. The rain falls on the unkempt and uncouth. The rain falls on the unruly youth performing their parkour in a manic goof. Rain falls on the solitary souls bearing the weight of their lives on their backs. Rain falls on the collateral damage. Rain falls on the man with a ham sandwich. Rain falls on the frightened, running from their fear of getting soaked. Rain falls on the guy who's become a sad joke. Rain falls on the leaves of the pin oak that can't bear to let go. The rain falls on the memory of my first phone number, Overdale 85350. Rain falls on the Tewana heart. The rain blesses the Tewana heart of Frida Kahlo, who died the same month I was born. The rain falls on Tom Waits singing Silent Night. The rain washes the plate glass window of the public library in which I reside. The rain drenches the old bricks of Donnelly's bar. The rain washes the pavement and refreshes the graffiti that the government tried to hide. The democratic rain touches us all, except it's not allowed to vote. The rain falls on Santa's beard and Whitman's beard. In fact, Walt Whitman is Santa Claus. The raindrops are Walt Whitman's tears. They are, really. Why are you crying today, Walt? The rain falls on the puddle-happy child in green slicker and yellow boots. Rain falls on the suicidal dentist. The rain falls on the 5 pillars and the Christmas trees. Rain falls on the enriched and the impoverished, rivulets of rain, libations of love. The rain falls on the raw and the cooked. Rain falls on the just fine and totally fucked, the sun stroked and the moon struck. The rain falls on the sacred and the profane. And the rain falls on the rain. We lift our heads, open our mouths, and the rain falls from the sky. Holy sacrament, a liquid solution. You guys are so sweet here. I love you. It's like the hallelujah chorus up front. This last piece is a memoir piece. It goes back to 1974, so I was 20. In the summer of 1974, I left my farmhouse and my hod carrier job in Butler County, Kentucky, and I went out to the West Coast for the first time. By mid-December, I was on my way to Iowa. Yeah, right. To stay with my folks while I worked to raise enough cash to take a second crack at college. I'm going to do this here at the University of Iowa, by the way. I had calculated a stop-off in Denver to see my friend Bobby, the first woman that I fell in love with, the summer after high school, 2 years before that. We stayed in touch for years after that, but eventually lost touch as we both got busy raising our families. Recently, we reconnected, and since then, letters, I'm talking about letters, have been flying back and forth between Iowa City and Long Island. But let's get back to the story. I crossed the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge and proceeded east on I-80. The plan was to hitch straight through. I lucked into rides that took me through the night, taking naps along the way. East of Salt Lake City, we need some geography here, right? I need a map. East of Salt Lake City, I switched from I-80 down to US 40, and by the evening of the second day, I was standing under a streetlight beside the highway in Steamboat Springs. The weather had been kind to me so far, but a snow front was moving in. Remember, this is mid-December, and I'm in Colorado. I stood in the valley of that ski town, ringed by mountains, hoping for one more ride. Just 160 miles to Denver and rest and respite at Bobby's place. just as I was thinking of giving in and finding the cheapest fucking motel room in Steamboat, a car stopped. This woman, let's call her Tina, was heading to Denver and looking for company into the night. She was a few years older than me, but she had lived much longer than I had. She wore a well-earned wariness and a ragged determination. She was escaping from something, and I know she told me what it was, but the current stage in her escape plan was all I had in mind. We had just crossed the Continental Divide, and the snow was coming down. Large flakes, huge flakes swirling around us. Talking a mile a minute, she reached across me, opened the glove box, and pulled out a bottle of pills. I wasn't able to see, didn't get a chance to read the label, but I knew that these were going to get her to Denver tonight. There's a reason they're called truck drivers, co-pilots, coast to coast. As we drove deeper into the night, the traffic thinned out and the road got harder to find under snow up to our hubcaps. Finally, Tina asked me to take the wheel. It was going to be on me to get us through. We begged for a semi to come along so we could follow its tracks. Beyond our headlights, pitch black. Was that a mountain beside us or empty air? I tuned the radio dial. I milked the radio dial for something to focus on. I like to think that I found Bob Dylan's old song, singing, I'm going, I'm gone. Somewhere out there is Bear Mountain, Lawson Ridge, Whiteley Peak. No roadside rest stops, no GPS, no Google Maps. Fuck, there was no cell phones, right? No gleaming neon high in the sky leading us to some Stuckey's or Howard Johnson. No golden arches. Yeah, I know, really. We eventually connected up with I-70, but still not much traffic to guide us. The snow had let up. That weather front stalled somewhere back in the mountains. As dawn was breaking in the east, we crested one last ridge, and there laid out below us, streetlights twinkling, sunlight glinting off of glass and steel skyscrapers, was Denver. We laughed, bleary, exhausted, relieved. We coasted down toward the city, stopped at the first roadside diner we found, and celebrated making it through the night and out of the darkness with some omelets and hash browns and strong, strong coffee. That 3-hour trip took us over 8 hours. Of course, I never saw Tina again. I wonder if she was ever able to escape that trap that she seemed to find herself in. I wonder if she received as good a welcome where she ended up, as good a welcome as I did. I was lucky. I caught Bobby just before she headed off for her day. Her laughter of surprise and delight, my laughter of gratitude and wonder. We hugged, we talked. After she went off to classes, I took a long hot shower, pulled out my sleeping bag, found a comfortable sofa, and slept until she got home. It's amazing how much our two lives have run in parallel these past 45 years. Raising 3 or 4 kids, deciding in the middle of our lives to veer off our career paths and end up becoming high school teachers. Responding to the direction our country has taken by taking our own action, marching, protesting. That first letter from Bobby was a gift. In it, she wrote, and I'm not going to try to memorize it because it's too good. Your letter has made me think back to the people who shaped me. I know you and your loved helped give me the confidence to be whoever I wanted to be. Girl, that feeling is mutual.
When did you change? When did you age? I thought you never grow up. I thought you never. Windows closed. Wendy got old. I was too late, I was too late. A shadow of what I once was. 'Cause we don't do the same drugs no more. We don't do the same drugs, do the same drugs no more. 'Cause we don't do the same drugs no more. We don't do the same drugs, do the same drugs no more. We don't do the same drugs, do the same drugs no more.
Thank you, everyone.
I'm telling you, yeah, give it to him. Give it to him. Hey. It's collabs on collabs out here. All right, what we're gonna do now is take about a 10-minute intermission for those of you who need that break. Check out the merch tables back there. I also did want to name Mic Check Poetry Fest does have like little tote bags. Like if you're trying to rap, $15, so like you can come my way, cause I'll be over there. But we got 10 minutes, which means at 25 we'll be back here. We'll be doing it again. What I want to do in this moment is when the intermission starts, I'm gonna hit these lights, and I want all of y'all to take a selfie with someone next to you that you know, and be safe. Like, be with the people you've been with. Like, don't go no one you don't know, but take a selfie and post it because the people need to know they missed out, right? Like, the people need to know like where you at, like what you've been doing. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit the lights, and you got about 10 minutes. All right, thank y'all. Yo, welcome back. Hey, we still got the energy. We still here? Hey, okay. All right. So we got so much to keep going with, so I'm gonna be like quick with it. You know what I'm saying? So we can get going. So our next poet up is who I call is like my poetry sister. We stay supporting each other. I published a book, and I wouldn't have done it if Kelsey hadn't published hers, and I was like, yo, I want to do that. And she said, let me show you how. And so I would not be where I am without Kelsey, and I just got to give her that shout out. So Kelsey Bigelow is a Midwestern poet who focuses on storytelling with a humanistic approach. She has been a panelist for the 2019 IC Speaks, that's us, hey, Youth Poetry Conference, a judge for the 2020 IC Speaks Page Poem Contest, and a judge for the 2021 I Love Slam Fest. Y'all heard that? Y'all right here? Y'all heard that? Oh, shit. Kelsey self-published her debut collection, Spring of Lilac and has been published in Back Channels Journal and Z Publishing House. She released a spoken word album, Depression Holders and Secret Keepers, in September 2021. Follow her on her social media, KelKB Poetry. Please welcome up Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm 5'3", a mediocre yogi, and have only met one person paler than me. All of that rhymed, and that was only 3/4 intentional. I like driving without a destination and meeting new dogs, though I prefer cats in my home. I think this is because my childhood was nomadic with a bark that wouldn't quit. I will share more on this mic than my family would like, but helping others feel understood is what brought me to the stage. I love a good Greek salad, but I don't do olives. I barely do the feta. I like my coffee black and my bookshelves full. I'm oddly good at eating sloppy joes without being sloppy, probably from training myself to keep my messes hidden. I don't know a lot, but I know every line to Gilmore Girls and that I have survived 100% of my worst days. And I know that poetry is my ultimate metaphor as I choose which lines to break, which rhymes to make while I write my life into its own rhythm. Because I was a young girl fighting sandpaper days and turning scrapes into poetry. And I know that all of this has made me who I am here tonight. A young girl, a young woman, building marble years, a poetry career, and still wearing Chucks, even though I'm not right now. These guys are incredible. How are we doing? Are we ready for the second half? All right. That's just like how I like to say hi. That was my honest poem after Rudy Francisco. I'm sure you picked up on that. Yeah. I like to make sure I give credit because I did not come up with the format. I also want to echo the trigger warning from before. If you need to take care of yourself, please do, because I'm about to go into some heavy shit. And a lot of this deals with, depression, eating disorders, childhood abuse, neglect, the works. So if there's anything that hurts you or triggers anything in you, please take care of yourself. I can barely see your faces, so I won't notice. We love you. I'm not going to introduce these. I'm just going to let them exist. Let's go into some word vomit. Digression. Writing is the last thing I want to do. I don't really know why this is, because writing is the only thing I need to do. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that shedding a layer of my heart and molding it into words on a page for all to read means molding it into words on a page for all to read. Maybe it's because I have been actively shaping my self-esteem into a genuine mirror of a mastered smile, and everyone knows that a happy poem is almost always an oxymoron. Maybe it's because speaking the dissonance of my soul breaks the innocence I've learned to portray and ruins the ignorant ears of those who think they know me, like the ones who ask why a coffee snob like me hasn't had any coffee yet today and it's already 11 a.m. I say nothing and turn to my notebook and explain to the page that I haven't had coffee because I haven't had a full meal in a while, because I haven't had enough money for such a luxury, and so I drink water to ignore the rumbles and to say thank you to the years I struggled with anorexia, because they taught me how to fake my health. They taught me how to get through a day without fainting in order to get the body I thought I was supposed to want. A body men would want to touch, not take, but they didn't take, they stole. They stole a body I grew to loathe, but then again, I'm told to be grateful for the body that I'm in, because the body that I'm in has so much built-in privilege, it has become translucent. But the thing about being translucent is that no one sees me, which means loneliness goes to bed with me and shapeshifts into the depression that is my body. I digress. This is why I avoid writing. Because only after reading my own words do I begin to sort trauma from struggle, and only after reading my own words do I realize I've got too much to write about. How are we feeling? I'm just like easing you guys into here's the more specific thing. No, I'm gonna introduce this one. So for me, when I'm writing in my notebook, it often comes out just as word vomit, like that last piece. And sometimes I make it into poem, and sometimes I let it be word vomit. And this next one is from a free write. When childhood traumas like to just pop up out of nowhere and be like, you're gonna unpack this now. And you're like, oh, cool. Happened to anybody else, writers in the room? Yeah, okay. So that's this piece. This is Poetic Trigger Warning. Dear friend, I know there will be a time when my lack of thought will make you rightfully angry with me, but when that happens, I beg of you, please do not come at me yelling. It breaks the white noise I created in my head to drown the screaming I grew up hearing. Like the sound of 13-year-old underfed and overdrunk delinquents and punks who found refuge in my mama's closed-curtain living room, you know the ones, who shield any real emotion by trying to be the one that sounds the angriest and the most street because their mamas couldn't pull through for them and their daddies were either locked up or locked out. My white noise drowns the screaming I grew up hearing. Like the sound of a 55-year-old stepfather kicking his dog across the kitchen as if it was her fault his paycheck stopped growing. You know the one. Whose fuse depends on the football score and which of us kids are around. If we were lucky, the team would win and we'd get a quiet dinner that night. Please do not come yelling at me. It sets off the smoke detector I installed to remind myself to listen to the screams and grunts through the rotting rafters and to tell myself it was just the TV turned up really loud. To tell myself I was safer to lie still on that basement couch and take up negative space, to remind myself it was safer to be mute. To tell myself I was safe, I was safe, I was safe, I was safe, friend. If you forget my poetic trigger warning, it's okay. I just wanted you to know why I might cover my ears. We're gonna shake it out now. Don't you love when stuff like that just pops up at you and you're like, oh, we're dealing with that, okay. And then you have these guys who just make it so much better. Love it. Before I go into my last piece, I gotta do the, shameless plug. We're gonna tell you about me. So yes, I just released my spoken word album, Depression Holders and Secret Keepers, and I am on tour for that right now. I'm almost done, which is insane. I'm stoked to be here, and with my poetry brother, thank you for inviting me, giving me the platform to be able to share this album. I do have it available out there. It's $10, cash card, Venmo. Kills me. Yes, I have cash card and Venmo, so you don't have an excuse to, you can take it all. I have all of it. I also have a QR code if you don't have the means right now. You can stream it literally anywhere for free. And then I do also have Sprig of Lilac with me. It's $10 as well, same spiel, and that book is really dedicated to grief. It's the culmination of after my mom passed away 7 years ago next week. And so that's what that is. So I like to say, if you want to be sad, I can hook you up. So talk to me after. All right, we're going to go into the last little bit here. This is Learned Instinct. I have contorted myself enough to know how my neck and kneecaps should curl to take up as little space as a disappearing act allows. It's somewhere between question mark and whiskey pour spout. And by space, I mean existence. See, taking up space used to equate with being in the way. I know how to avoid mess and remove attention. And by mess, I mean existence. See, it's no crumbs on plate to hide residue from judging eyes because those eyes only saw a flaw. I have learned to quiet, like mime, with helium in my heels and mute in my voice box to remain unheard because the herd always brought chaos, and by herd I mean the existing. So I let closed doors and headphones become my bunker from the bellows and drywall holes, and by bellows I mean their existence. While blankets of unwashed shaking became depression holders and secret keepers that hid my car-keyed forearms and question mark body. And by unwashed shaking, I mean the pitifulness I thought my existence was worth until I almost let it all go. Until I almost let it all go.
All right. Give it up for Kelsey one more time. Go ahead. Yes. Really quick, I want to mention, I said some of these artists were sponsored. Kelsey is one of our other sponsored artists. She is sponsored by Trumpet Blossom. So again, if you hungry, we got Moses and we got Trumpet Blossom, right? Trumpet Blossom is a fully vegan restaurant too. So like, check it out. You know what I'm saying? It's hot. So there's that. This next poet here, I'm going to give just a little bit of a little background here. I saw this poet for the first time in August. Yes, this poet is young and fierce. Brings it. She is from Des Moines. Yes. Part of Run DSM, part of Movement 515. They do work out there. They do work. They do. And I want to give this little spiel here of just like, we as adults are, like most of us are adults in this space. We're doing this here, but these young people have been doing it, right? Especially out in Des Moines. We love it. And they even invited IC Speaks out there to spend that time with them. And we got to slam. We got to share stage. And so we just want to say love there. And so you make a stage. And you bring us, we make a stage, we bring you, we got you. So here we go here. Jocelyn has been writing poetry since 7th grade. In the summer of 2021, was the member of the Des Moines Youth Poetry Slam team that ranked first in the international competition, Brave New Voices. Yes. Number one, we're talking, number one. She is first generation from a Mexican family, and her goal is to inspire kids so that they can write good poems and get free too. Please give it up. Let's go.
This first poem goes to my grandmother. Just to give you a heads up, all my poems tonight are from my family. They hold very special places in my heart. So yeah, let's get started. Abuelita, I wish I could have hugged you. You lost your life as soon as my mother gained hers. Mama says your smile was so wide that it stretched as long as the borderline. But she said sometimes in pictures it looks like you were trying to escape from the camera. And I wonder if it's because you don't like having your picture taken like my mother. Mama says your eyes were the prettiest brown. That's why she puts a lot of cream and sugar in her coffee. She hopes to find your eyes in there somewhere. Abuelo says my hair reminds him of yours. Says my mother and I's curls are a carbon copy. He says you always try to brush your hair, but would give up because the handle would snap. Abuelo still sometimes feels your arms wrapped around him when he's sad. Said they felt like home. Says you were a roof protecting him from the rain of racism. He wants me to tell you that America isn't shit. He knows you've always wanted to come here for bright skies, but all it does is storm. Mama says she wanted to be like you when she was older. But abuelita, I know she wishes you were still here because I know that she doesn't feel like she's doing this mother thing right. It's been so hard for her without you. My mother always stood tall, even when she was tired, and brave, even when she was about to break. She says it reminds her of her childhood, because she didn't really have one, cooking and cleaning before she could even spell her own name. Do you know her favorite color is yellow? Abuelo says yellow was your favorite color too. You had sets of sunflowers in front of your yard and you used to water them like crazy. He says you used to cry when they died. When you died, sunflowers didn't seem so bright anymore. I imagined that we would be close, that we would garden on Sunday morning and you would hug me into wisdom when I had nowhere else to go. Remind my mother that we eventually grow up, but our love for her doesn't disappear with it, just like your love for her didn't disappear with your life. Abuelita, I planted sunflowers today. They're stretched along my fence like a smile on a face, and they whisper, I miss you into the afterlife. Do you hear them? Do you miss me? Mama has 6 other kids, and I know they'd want you at Christmas dinner with us, for you to sit and laugh at our cake-covered faces. Abuelita, I can't thank you enough for giving me Mama. She has the prettiest brown eyes, the craziest curls, the widest smile, kind of like you. My mother has always been the type of woman to smile even in hard times. She worked 2 jobs her whole life, carried me on her back in harsh winters, but she's afraid of death. And I keep reminding her that you are waiting with her with a bunch of sunflowers and many I love yous, Abuelita. I never met you, but I know you're proud of the daughter you have because I am too. This next poem is a letter to my brother. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. To my brother, Alejandro, I want to start off saying I love you. The most vivid memory I have of my childhood is when I was a baby, barely able to walk, and you would hold me up, almost as if you didn't want me falling into this cruel world. The second one is when you had a few too many, barely able to walk, and I was holding you up. That night, all you would talk about is how much you love me and how you'd always be there for me because I'm your little sister. My mama says you used to take me everywhere with you, like I was your favorite doll. Now I want to say I'm sorry because the only time we get to speak is through a phone in 20-minute intervals, and our conversations are always being recorded, and it's the only way I can be there for you. I want to be mad at you, but I can't. Because every time I look at your daughter, it's almost like you're right there with her. She has your eyebrows, eyes, and nose. She used to say you were working, but now she says you're locked in a room you can never leave, and I lose my breath every time she says that because I don't think she knows you might not make it home. You being detained by ICE has been one of the hardest things for me to say out loud because I know the more I say it, the more real it would become. I have endless questions in my head. If you get deported, where will you go? Who will you live with? Who will be there to support you in a country you know as much as I do? I know my mom can't handle this. Because you know our older brother Rafa crossed that line at 18, our hermana having to choose between us or her children. Her heart is heavy with the thought that you'll never see your daughter grow up. And I really hope you do. You deserve to see her graduate and get married. You want to name your future son Alejandro. We haven't called you that in years. When I was younger, you played card games, and I don't think you touched cards since I was 12. But lately, you said all you do is play card games with a bunch of men that feel the same way as you, trapped in mistakes you wish you could take back. You made the mistake of thinking the government gives second chances to those who look like you. America keeps building a wall around their families, and arms seems to pay the price of it. They forfeited a father-daughter relationship. Ever since we were younger, we knew xenophobia took life out of us. They used prison to change you. They use prison to change you into stereotypes, unsafe, criminal, border hopper, people like our mother who have calluses from picking the fruit, backfisters from sun or labor exchanged with bruises and abuse, people like you, hermano, who work every day of your life and more to make sure your kids never starve like us, mi hermanito. I want to hold you in this poem. Let these lines loosen the spaces in between us. Let it remind you that every night your daughter sings a prayer for you, that you always live in our corazones. Mold you back into the big brother I've known. Let this poem free you from your regrets, heal you from the pain of being away from us. I'll use this poem as a prayer, and one day it will set you free. I started playing the violin in 5th grade. Mr. Brown was my first violin teacher. He opened the violin case and I was afraid to touch it. I'm not gonna lie, being in 5th grade meant a terrible case of butterfingers, but the first time I held a violin, it felt so light, almost like it wasn't real in my grasp. The first time I struck my bow down the strings, I realized just how fragile it was. Also, how powerful the music that rang through the sound points when I came home with the violin strapped across my back. My grandfather, a 5'1" man with the smell of sugar canes that he grew surrounding him, a full head of hair with a mustache that is graying by the second, said the instrument suited me the best. We are both fragile but fuerte, and I haven't stopped playing since. Every time my fingers run across the board, the vibrations ring through the hollow body. It reminds me to breathe. And I realized just how quickly I'd give up my own ribs for the instrument. When my grandfather was given 2 weeks to live, I shattered the violin I've had since 5th grade, tying my hands around the neck and flung it so hard against its back. Watched the back of the instrument shatter into a million pieces, its ribs split in half with strings holding onto the bridge. It's trying to mend itself back together. But I really just wanted something as damaged as me, the way my heartstrings were broken, my lungs smashed against my rib, my soul, a long and defeated hum. I wanted there to be a harmony, commending my grandfather to be fuerte and his fragile state, an orchestra to play a symphony that would heal all the cancer, a bow that would strike such a force to let him out a rapid breath. But all I could remember since I was a little girl, he was full of life. I watched this man tear down concrete walls in his 70 years of age. It's hard to imagine being here, watching him lose the color of his piel, his hair falling rapidly, his memory being a loop. If I can't remember, then I don't know. We spent a lot of time in silence. In the end, I realized the violin was the only thing that carried the conversation for years. And every note was an I love you and I'll see you soon. Our last hug, my ear was pressed against his chest. I wanted there to be a conductor to keep his heartbeat on the 1, 2, 3, 4. How do I explain to my abuelo that the thing that once gave us life cannot save him this time? That no matter how many times I started a new sheet of music, my fingers did not want to land on the correct notes. I'm afraid of what happens when the music stops, abuelo. The last note will be as mournful as your last breath. The last song I play for you will give you a rhythm to dance to. I want to see you move before you die. You will see all the techniques you taught me when I was striving to be in a mariachi. The violin reminds me of you more than ever. If it taught me anything, how to hold fragile things, how to hold on firmly but not too tightly or it might snap under the pressure, I'll soak in your last breath as a way to remind myself to breathe. Almost like a lull, allow myself to seep into the chords of your heartbeat plays. The last time I saw my grandfather, he asked me to play a song for him, and all of a sudden I was in 5th grade again, clutching the bow with shaking hands, fingers fumbling across the board, pulling down arrows that let out a screeching tune. And he still looks at me through his weepy eyes and tells me this is the most beautiful thing he'll hear in this lifetime. And I just know that this is the last note of his song, but I want him to know my violin will play his melody forever. This last poem goes to my mother. We both have a very big fear of things that we don't know, so I hope you enjoy it. My fear of the ocean first came to me when I was called a wetback. I was afraid of water, so I knew I'd never step foot in it, so technically I couldn't get my back wet. I learned that Poseidon was god of sea and was also the god of drought, so when I had a sea of people speaking English to me, I felt though his salt water had drowned my voice, and I had no idea what to say. When my mother speaks English, I know she feels the barbed wire fence, net around her tongue, and the flood of seawater choking her to death. I think it's the only thing we have in common. We are so afraid of things we don't know, the way we've only discovered 4% of the ocean. My mother is afraid to utter syllables that aren't in her dictionary. She's afraid to sink in seas she's never seen, and people can smell broken English from miles away, and we both don't want to be ripped apart by sharks. We're afraid the waves will drown us before we can scream for help, the same way English drowns her into confusion. My mother said the ocean swallowed her people whole, a lot like English eating her children's tongues, causing waves in between them. My mother's accent reminds me of tides. My mother set sails for better futures, but vowels have her anchored in the middle of the sea. See, this is why I have a hard time navigating where the ocean begins and ends. We never want to be stuck in uncharted territory. She's under the pressure of unpronounceable words, the same way the ocean's pressure is heavy on my shoulders. I know it feels a lot like being 5 and translating for her in a doctor's office. Spanish is the only thing my mother has left of her home that no one can take. The ocean reminds me of Spanish. It breathes the vida of my grandmother's soul. It was a lifeboat when I was stuck in seas for me and my mother. It always felt like I was floating until I'd be pushed into the shoreline with no way to communicate with my mother. She'd be shipwrecked at sea with fragments and conjunctions that she can kick herself afloat on, while ELL violently pushes me back into the shoreline as I watch my mother struggle against the currents of English, trying to reach me. Not holding a conversation with her tastes a lot like sand and saltwater meeting for only a brief second. And just like that, me and my mother are afraid of the things we don't know. One day, me and her will lay in the middle of the ocean with nothing but ourselves. We'll speak our motherland's language and hope the ocean meets that land again. We will be home, thanks to the ocean.
Keep giving that poet some love. Keep giving that poet some love. Come on now. Yes. Woo. Oh. Ah. The vulnerability in that I really appreciate. Thank you for sharing that in this space with us. Damn. Real quick, I want to give love to our band here, right? So we've got Yes, we've got Gerard Estella right here, rocking it. No problem. The funny thing is they're always just like, yeah, we got this. It's no big deal. We got Lincoln Ginsberg right here. Yes. Yes, and then we've got Greg Cans right back here. Give them the love. Come on now. Come on. This does not exist without them. Oh, thank y'all. This next poet, Laura Johnson. Laura Johnson is a poet and writer in Eastern Iowa who is a founding co-editor of the literary journal Back Channels. She is an MFA candidate at the University of New Orleans and is a graduate of the University of Iowa. Her work has appeared in Goat's Milk Magazine, Thimble Literary Magazine, Prompt Press, High Shelf Press, among others. Her chapbook, Memento Vivere, I can't ever say it, but I know it, is forthcoming at the end of this year. Please give Laura some love. Come on now.
A field guide to summertime in the 1970s. Freedom was plated into days over, under. We walked barefoot, daily scavenger hunts, searched fields for four-leaf clovers, explored the creek for tadpoles. Under boxwoods, we searched to find roly-polies. We plucked sprigs of lilac from Mr. Olmsted's backyard. We rode banana-seat bikes to the park where swings reached the horizon. Teeter-totters weighed us out like chops at the butcher. And tall aluminum slides roasted our rumps with midday sun. On the monkey bars, we whispered giggly girl secrets, now forgotten. Over and under and over and under. Wishes blew away, sky lanterns, floating hopes over fairylands that only childhood sees. I'm going to take you with me on a little journey from being a daughter to being a mother to becoming a grandmother. You will probably see that my mother and I have differences of opinion. Self-portrait as reflected in mother's eyes. No joke, my mother's words, "You girls can be anything you want to be." Well, if anything means something she approves of, like a nurse or a secretary. As in her story, our lives must be small and manageable. Nothing too daring, nothing outlandish that she would have to explain to the neighbors or to her mother. Be careful. Chances cannot be taken, and until I've worn white, I had to hold the pill between my knees. Because if I'm a slut, there can be no trace of it. Adventures are bottled up for husbands and children who have to come. And so I sleepwalk for years, smiling at bungled courtships, settling for less, becoming a teacher instead of a spy. Marriage and children drain desire, demand time, and young limbs wrap around knees and torsos, and fingers slide under my skin into my veins. My life turned black soil to red clay to sand, under the weight of generations of mothers' lies. What do I know of truth? Of the million ways to live, only one of which is wife. Mother, I'm no longer asleep now, am I? Curse breaking. We screamed through childhood and the frustration-stained walls. How your cigarette smoke failed to imprint tumors on any of us leaves medical science baffled. Our hearts were not so lucky. Sticky black tar mucked up expectations, unfairness, and conditions screamed at me. How many cigarettes could have been rolled in the paperwork of marriage and divorce? We screamed upstairs to the basement, standing up while losing hope tired me out. No longer a ballerina, not an artist. Music slipped down the open windows, melted down the drain pipes, sewer bound. In place, responsibility chafed and wept and turned off the lights. I remember screaming, "Fuck you!" as my patients cowered in the corner. Refusals opened wide maws, swallowing up tear-flooded moments, and always a screaming soundtrack. This is not supposed to continue. Mom, you said, "Tell me if I get like grandma," but you never promised to hear that. This cannot continue. Now air catches in my throat. Mistakes must not repeat. The original error still echoes, and I tell myself, I am not my mother. I will not scream. So I have three children, and I'm not going to tell you which one this is about. But I will tell you he's proud he inspired a poem. When your son calls you a bitch. When your son calls you a bitch, you will feel 9 moon cycles drop sharpened ice daggers into your veins, and they will not melt entirely. They're just enough to shallow your breathing and circulate pointed edges and thinned blood, veins to heart to arteries and back again. When your son calls you a bitch, he will become every other man. His dad, the office manager, the ex-boyfriend from college who never deserved your time anyway. A changeling stands before you with others' words in his mouth. You will hear a grave, deep cry from grandma, great-grandmother, and her mother before her. The switches, the corners, the thrashings will rise from mist-darkened pasts. When your son calls you a bitch, you will pummel yourself, perhaps blacking both of your eyes, with questions that go round for round until the bell calls a draw in the fight of the century. Good fair parenting versus the fact your son just called you a bitch in the Hy-Vee parking lot. When your son calls you a bitch, you will need to summon all of your feminist energy and use it for good rather than evil. And though we take no oaths and delivery implies do no harm, wounds are not a mother's instinct. The cub must be protected. This is outside nature's calling. When your son calls you a bitch, he may feel self-satisfied and go to his room to watch Doctor Who or play Xbox. You may need to go to your room to call on the moon to minister to you midday. But you cannot stay there. When your son calls you a bitch, do not take him to the movies or let him go to his friend's house. Instead, take him bowling and show him the power of a woman, a 10-pound ball, and determination. Take him to an ice cream stand and let him get whatever he wants, and let him wonder what's coming next. When your son calls you a bitch, invite him out to the back deck to look at the sunset and the moon rise. Take his hand, look in his eyes, and say, "Son, we need to talk." I am the meanest mommy in the world. I have been that for 29 years. I have proof. Just 6 months into motherhood, I carried the title when I let him cry it out in his crib. And if I would have known, I would have held him all the days and nights. If only I had known how few we would have. You had to share your toys, you had to go to your room for stomping down the stairs, and you were not allowed to feed your brother handfuls of sand. Yeah, I'm the meanest mommy in the world because getting up for school and going to school is complete torture from age 5 to 18. I am so mean that I wanted you to be educated and socialize and have a chance to shine. You had to brush your hair before school and when we went to the store. And sometimes you had to brush your hair because it's just a good idea to brush your hair. But the meanest mommy in the world lets you grow your hair out, then cut it short, then dye it purple, then carve a mohawk. Because, hey, it's just hair, and it's a pretty good place for beginning self-expression. Although I drove you and I taught you to drive, I am still the meanest mommy in the world because I did not buy you a car the day you turned 16. But the dents in my car are like the stretch marks on my hips, made of pure love. I insisted on a curfew, and I didn't care if you thought I was old-fashioned. Yes, I did know when you snuck out anyway. I was awake every time you thought I was asleep. Well, almost every time. But still, even the meanest mommy in the world doesn't call you out on everything. When you were in college, I became the bourgeois oppressor. I was the man and you were fighting him. But you still brought your laundry home, and I still bought you groceries. This was a new kind of growing pain. Now that you have children, I get to be the best grandma in the world. I smile and rock your baby and wish you a child exactly like yourself. because I will never be able to tell you how much you have always meant to me. And I will continue to be the meanest mommy in the world, and I will leave you nothing but all of every second of all of the love I have ever had. All right. This last one is very short, just like the person who inspired it. I'm going to share with you some of Maya's wisdom. I have 3 grandchildren as of about a month ago. So, yeah. This is twirling. Maya's wisdom. "You're wonderful," I said to her. "I know," she exclaimed, and began to twirl. Blue fairy princess tulle spinning around her, a protective swirl around innocence and kindness and the belief that the world is a good place where people are wonderful. She fell down laughing and gasping. "Now you, Grandma." And so I began twirling as she clapped and cheered. A dizziness approached, and I wondered where we'd lose it. Why didn't we stop yelling, "I know," when someone says you're wonderful? Was it during recess? During the teen years and bad haircuts and awkward encounters? When the traffic refused to move or the mortgage was denied? "You're wonderful, Grandma," she shouted as I collapsed in a dizzy heap. "Now you," Maya told her little sister, and she twirled twice and collapsed in my arms. "We are all wonderful," Maya said, falling back into the warm summer grass. We watched the clouds overhead. Indeed, you are all wonderful.
Oh, Laura, I need you to know that I'm blessed and lucky enough that my mom is here tonight. And I knew you were gonna get her. Like, I knew it was gonna happen. What I wasn't ready for is when you start talking about grandchildren, she said, "Where mine?" And I was like, oh. Oh, but thank you, Laura, for sharing that with us. Our final poet here is actually all the way from Arizona, right? So if you're wondering, like, why all these people cheering for him, which is that he's actually from Des Moines, right? Explain a little more. But he's now out in Tucson, Arizona. But I met this man. I lost to him in a slam. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I was like, damn, I gotta know this man. So that's how that went. But he is a phenomenal man. He is also sponsored. He's our final sponsored artist, yes, by Albrije. So if you want some Mexican cuisine, go to Albrije. And that's one of our sponsors. Please, if y'all hungry, go to these places. Show them that we love art and we love that they support it, right? So Dr. Larry D. Moore II is a middle school English teacher, poet, and a musician residing in Tucson, Arizona by the way of Des Moines, Iowa. Larry has won a number of local slams in the Tucson, Phoenix area, been featured as a finalist in the International Slam-O-Vision Poetry Competition that was here, been named to the 5 Poet Phoenix National Poetry Slam team, and been cast in multiple stage performances, including Charles Fuller's A Soldier's Play. Mr. Moore has coached and mentored poetry and drama students, taught classes from preschool to hip-hop camps, and continues to act, perform, and compete as a part of his artistic communities. Please give it up for Larry Moore.
Yeah.
Gonna make you feel right. Gonna make you feel right, yeah. Make you feel right. Gonna make you feel right, yeah. Hey. This is that feel right. Pure metaphysical pinnacle of potential. Downstroke in your mental for a kinetic residual of something comedic spiritual. It's an evening vigil inside a reliable high. It's an undeniable ride. It's ascension, transcendence, mouthfuls of the most beautiful kinds of sin and exhibition. Elevation of vision by the release of tension, dopamine, reprise. I mean, baptize dope tangerine feeling so that you can vibe. Open up wide and let this reside in you. You roots like baseline, find base emotion, root and heart to blossom behind waistline. Climb through in the in-between time and find a place where you can unwind. And goddamn, that's exactly why you came here tonight, because you knew for a fact we was gonna make you feel right. This is that motherfucking feel right. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. I am, I am Mr. Larry Moore. No, y'all gonna make me cry, fam. It is full circle, man, and I won't hit y'all with the bullshit. I should be in Des Moines. I should be in Iowa. I should be teaching here. Shit happens, right? And you go where they want you, and you go where they let you do your thing, and where you need it is true. But yeah, let's do some poetry. When I die, 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 I want to be, want to have been, I want to be, want to have been, I want to be, want to have been, I want to be. When I die, I want my spirit to dance, dig, big toe in dirt, big step, push. Left foot to fight, flick of right. Shoulder up, and hip shrug to a Guanian quassa jig. Give me my flowers now so I can bask in the tempo of them. So stem in the lapel of self-concept before my spirit sours from time under sun. Abiding recitation of epitaph. Eulogy built into the lining of a likeness of lung, making ease of commodifying rhythm. How can I breathe when they commodify my inhales? Won't make ease of retail or commodify myself. So when I die, I want the breath of my last breath to tuck afro, take tumble from ledge of bottom lip. See a stretch of atmosphere between exhale final and the interval in eternity. My mortality swinging a vicious dirge of death, swinging its fucking fists out the backseat of Negro spiritual. Check the context. Compressed methodology over third to seventh towards melody. Imminent vibration, offspring to a Majamal piano string. Just let a nigga resonate. Bask in the sheer weight and severity of my substance on the downbeat. Even in decrescendo, let pith of last existence be antipathy to lack of black love poem. With black love sewn into cracks of soul, sit perfect in stanzas, stands up with fist. Drip blackness by the sentence, come back black, comma. Capital black with ellipses to come back in trapeze as black epitome for the entire next paragraph. Nigga, when I die, I want my son to read and sift the sentences in the ashes of my passing flip. Handful, rub to heat of himself, heat of my son to heat a remnant of father. Nigga, when I die, I want to be a mirror, a parallel for brown boys, a vestige of health. A reminder of just how good black can look when lens is just simply mirror to self. When I die, I want to be a quiet but violent antipathy to lack of black love poem, a revolution. With the youth clawing their way to conclusion like honeysuckle from the grave of my chest. But I confess, you have to tell the reaper that motherfucker can't have me yet. Compel the ether. That martyr complex is luxury item foolishness. I'm telling you, these black bodies are not sacrificed for crucifix, so let them dance as I die. And I hope the land rumble and it rise, and I hope this system crumble in them white folks' hand in the blink of an eye, because when I go, I want to have been, why, when I die. Want to have been, I want to be, I want to have been, I want to be, I want to have been, I want to be, I want to have been, I want to be, want to have been, I want to be, want to have been, want to have been a motherfucking change. Peace. So, anybody that knows me knows that love poems are my motherfucking shit. So, I'm gonna drop 2 love poems and then we'll end with an affirmation. I appreciate y'all so much. It has been an amazing night. Thank you to all the poets. Thank you to everyone that has attended. And thank y'all for having me in the building. Tonight, if you tell me meet you at Moon, baby, I am spaceship. Meet you at Mary in a trench and I am deep sea diving. I'm pouring the entirety of my spirit at your feet. I'm suiciding. Quiet as it's kept, I'd risk all that shit for you. They say temptation was serpent, but you are God. And I am struggling, Eve in garden's gloom, just waiting on clouds clearing from that smile when you come shining through. Not even cloudy skies could cloud atmosphere when that smile grace room. Goddamn, you keep me buzzing. And the issue is that the bugging is coming after just 2 nightstands of loving, so I'm gonna pour some holy oil on it. See if that motherfucker separate out like water do. Baking soda and vinegar in the center, see if I can push them hoes to the opposite sides of the mood where you won't quite be able to push and pull a nigga's vehemence like you do. Tie due to full moon, been high and heaved and lost as tossed balloons. Had to hog tie a handful of nigga, you got to be more careful. At the arch of my foot, near the sole of my shoe. Cause my soul been having trouble focusing on account of the way that those brown hips move. And when we get to telling true, well, isn't that what starts to feel like love? Don't oxytocin coasting cause emotion at the intersectionality of dope conversation and disrobing, and that starts to feel like trust. And there you are. You're already caught 22 heartbeats between hard place feeling and just how hard it will be to bend your heart like you used to have to. But when you look inside, and you see that your butterflies have looked inside and saw that they have butterflies. Will you blow the dust off that bitch and you try to adjust? You send text message, say, hey, big head, tonight. If you tell me meet you at Moon, baby, I am spaceship. Meet you at Mary in a trench and I am deep sea diving. I am pouring the entirety of my spirit at your feet. I'm suiciding. And quiet as it's kept, I'd already risk all that shit for you. Come and hold me, baby. I just want your touch. Would like to be the only one you're holding. I just want your touch. If you move me, I needed so much, just come and hold me, baby. Come and hold me, yeah. I use her love like a hella perfect pair of headphones. The tone prone to a reminiscent mezzo forte heartbeat percussed from rib, a perpetual hymn of praise. You meditate on the feeling. Send half-note jitters to romance my intestines to turning butterfly, fluttering 30-second notes afloat without settle. I am a wide-open, hopeless mess of percussion ad-libs. Fighting against a lead that keeps countering motifs which leaves the padded conclaves of my fingertips to pray nightly on the rigid altars of guitar strings, pleading for chord resolution. The comforting sound of the hook peeking around the well-traveled frame of the bridge, cause I have placed my lips there before. You put the accents on the touch. You crescendo through two-touch and you dance. During the touch, you touch away the tears. To a honey-dripped rhythm wrapped in a composition of proximity to vibration, baby, we've always been instrumental. Fleeting physicality, fresh planted under a 5/4 time so languid, only you and I know where the downbeats are, hidden in the staff's let's dig, freestyles from the confined curvature of the clefs. Jazz chocolate solos into finely tuned wishes leave, finely tuned kisses sashay across a rictus of sky streaked whole notes so that every time we hear music, our dreams come true and we'll never wake up. We'll lose ourselves in the movements of the moments while always refusing to dip at a respectable distance when the music is through. Over and over and over again, I will find myself inside of you, me sitting cross-legged at the bottom of your guitar case heart, waiting for you to come and sway me, baby. Waiting for you to come and play me. This last joint is just a reminder that we go through so much. And these last 2-3 years, we've been through so much, right? But it's a reminder that at an atomic level, we are the same shit as stardust. Word? So an affirmation poem. Can I do it without? We got people streaming. Yeah. No worries. I'll just step back. Check. If they are hearing this, well, you have already faded into the distance, and what we have here is nothing more than your affirmation. In the beginning, there was a pervasion of the word, and you were implicit in the verb, a scribbled charcoal insurrection of God particle. Upheaval of deity and miracle, meaning you have divinity affixed to your double helix. You are universe remixed to empirical flesh of stardust. You have diamonds in your veins. You're carbon atomic. A systematic catastrophe of a catalyst. You are black magic bottled on an easy rhetoric of daydreams. You are a jazz theme, corner of God's breast pocket. His heart throbbing. You are unfuckwittableness mixed with amazing. If they are hearing this, well, you have already faded away. Ashes to ashes. That dust to stars, you are solar flare. You are surface of sun. A revolution by definition every morning. And what we have here is nothing more than your affirmation. Peace. Mr. Larry Moore. Thank you so much.
Come on. Yeah.
I just want to take this moment to really thank you. Can we just have just one moment of silence where we hold each other in it? Thank you for being here and being in this space, open-hearted and excited and loving. We keep doing this. This is the good stuff. So thank you all, and have a good night. you.